It was a quiet desert night, a canvas of stars painted across the inky blackness. The air was still, the silence broken only by the occasional whisper of the wind. Then, without warning, the horizon erupted in violent orange. A searing light tore through the darkness, shattering the tranquility. The earth roared, a deep guttural sound that resonated through the very bones of those who stood witness. As ballistic missiles launched from Iran, their fiery trails painting streaks across the night, streaking toward American bases, strategic outposts in a volatile region. This was no warning shot, no diplomatic gesture gone awry. It was a declaration, a brazen act of aggression. Written in fire, a message of defiance etched across the heavens. Sirens wailed at Al-Assad Air Base, their piercing cries cutting through the night, a desperate alarm against the impending storm. Soldiers scrambled for bunkers, their training kicking in, a desperate race against time, adrenaline surging, fear mixing with a grim determination. Every second stretched into an eternity, anticipation thick, a suffocating blanket of dread, as the missiles closed in, their deadly payload hurtling towards its target. Then, the impacts, a barrage of explosions ripped through the night, a symphony of destruction. The ground shaking violently, windows shattering into a million pieces. Dust and debris filled the air, a choking cloud obscuring everything, chaos reigning, a maelstrom of panic and confusion. When the last missile hit, its fiery kiss marking the end of the assault, silence fell, a heavy, oppressive blanket. Heavy, uneasy, pregnant with the weight of what had just transpired. Craters and twisted wreckage, the grim testament to the night's fury, scarred the base, a permanent reminder of vulnerability. The attack was over. The immediate danger passed. But the questions began, swirling like the dust that still hung in the air. How did this happen? How could such a devastating attack have been allowed to occur? Where were the billion-dollar defenses, the technological marvels designed to protect them? The sky was quiet, eerily so, but the silence was damning, a stark indictment of failure. The fortress had been breached, its walls proven fallible, the myth of impenetrability was shattered, leaving behind a chilling vulnerability. The world watched, the news spreading like wildfire, stunned by the audacity and the sheer destructive power on display. The reality of modern warfare was on full display, a stark and brutal lesson, brutal, unforgiving in its destructive force, messy, a chaotic scramble in the aftermath, and loud, the echoes of explosions ringing in their ears. The night had changed everything, shattering illusions and exposing vulnerabilities, and the answers would not come easily, buried beneath layers of debris and political maneuvering. How could this happen? How could such devastation occur, despite all the precautions? The aftermath paints a grim picture, a stark contrast to the assurances of impenetrable defense. America's bases were supposed to be fortresses, bastions of security in a volatile world. They stood as symbols of power and protection, guarded by the best tech money could buy. Billions were invested in cutting-edge systems designed to detect and neutralize any threat. The Patriot missile system was the star defender. A technological marvel, capable of intercepting incoming missiles with pinpoint accuracy, radars scanning, constantly vigilant, searching the skies for any sign of danger, interceptors ready, poised to launch at a moment's notice, a wall of steel against potential attacks, satellites in space acting as the first line of defense, the space-based infrared system, a network of eyes watching from above. Watched for launches, tracking the heat signatures of missiles as they ascended into the atmosphere, sending instant warnings. Alerts flashed in command centers, triggering a cascade of responses. The promise, if a missile came, it would be seen and stopped. This was the assurance given to the troops on the ground and to the American public. On paper, it was unbeatable, a masterpiece of engineering and strategic planning, a shield of steel and silicon, a network of interconnected systems working in perfect harmony. But that night, the system faced its first real test. The moment of truth had arrived. The eyes in the sky worked. The launch was detected. The warning was sent. The alarm sounded, a piercing wail that cut through the night, signaling imminent danger. Soldiers had minutes to take cover. A frantic scramble for safety, a race against time. But the shield's true strength, its ability to perform under pressure, was about to be revealed or exposed. The world held its breath, waiting to see if the system would live up to its promise. The world expected a flawless defense. Years of investment, countless hours of training, all leading to this moment. Instead, the attack slipped through. The unthinkable happened. The seemingly impossible became reality. The myth of the invincible fortress was gone, shattered along with the confidence in the system's ability to protect. The technology was advanced, representing the pinnacle of modern engineering, but the outcome was humbling. A stark reminder that even the most sophisticated systems are not infallible. The stage was set for hard questions. Accountability would be demanded and answers would be sought. The warning system, a complex network of sensors and data analysis, worked exactly as designed. It was a testament to years of development and countless simulations. High above the Earth, satellites, the silent sentinels of the space age, saw the launches, their infrared sensors picking up the telltale heat signatures of the Iranian missiles as they pierced the atmosphere. On military bases across the region, alarms blared, a cacophony of sound designed to snap personnel to attention, cutting through the mundane routines of daily life. And soldiers trained for this very moment took cover, diving into bunkers and assuming defensive positions, their hearts pounding in their chests as they braced for the unknown. Miraculously, no one died, a testament to the effectiveness of the early warning and the speed of the response. It was a close call, a brush with potential disaster. But the real test, the ultimate measure of the defensive network, was interception. Could they stop the incoming missiles before they reached their targets? As Iranian missiles arced in, tracing fiery paths across the night sky, their trajectories calculated with deadly precision, Patriot batteries, the last line of defense, stood ready, their radar systems locked onto the incoming threats, awaiting the command to fire. Then a moment of stunned silence in the command centers as the unthinkable happened. Against all expectations, not a single interceptor was fired. The order never came. Commanders analyzing the incoming data with lightning speed saw the missiles were aimed at empty hangars and runways, deliberately targeting areas devoid of personnel. The enemy was not targeting people or critical assets, but rather making a calculated statement. They made a split-second call, a decision that would be debated for years to come. Don't waste million-dollar interceptors on empty targets. Conserve resources, avoid unnecessary escalation. The missiles landed, impacting the designated areas with a series of deafening explosions. They succeeded in destroying buildings and damaging infrastructure, but sparing lives. A Pyrrhic victory, perhaps, but a victory nonetheless. The world watched, shocked at the audacity of the attack and the restraint of the response. America's shield had warned, but not blocked, choosing to absorb the blow rather than retaliate. It was a calculated risk, saving interceptors, avoiding escalation, preventing a wider conflict. But the image was stark, a powerful symbol of vulnerability in an increasingly dangerous world. A US base under fire, defenses silent, a scene that would be etched in the collective memory. The gamble worked, averting a potential catastrophe and preventing further loss of life, but the perception of invincibility, the aura of unbreachable defense was gone, shattered like glass. The shield had a blind spot, a chink in the armor that had been ruthlessly exploited. The attack exposed a new vulnerability, a weakness that adversaries would undoubtedly seek to exploit in the future. The world saw, with a mixture of concern and perhaps a hint of schadenfreude, that even the best defenses, the most sophisticated technologies, have limits, boundaries that can be tested and breached. The decision saved lives, preserving the most valuable asset in any conflict, but it also raised doubts, sparking a fierce debate about strategy, preparedness, and the very nature of deterrence. And was it restraint, a sign of strategic maturity, or weakness? An invitation for further aggression? The debate had only begun, and its outcome would shape defense policy for years to come. The myth of perfect protection was over, replaced by a new, more nuanced understanding of the challenges and complexities of modern warfare. The consequences would echo far beyond the desert, reverberating through the halls of power and shaping the geopolitical landscape for decades to come. Experts erupted in debate. Was this a failure or a calculated risk? Some praised the commander's restraint, arguing it showed confidence in their data. Others warned it set a dangerous precedent. Letting missiles hit, even empty areas, signaled vulnerability. What if a missile had gone off course? The psychological impact was real. Iran had struck, and the world saw it. The shield's eyes and brain worked, but its fist stayed idle. The attack forced a hard look at what missile defense is really for: protection, deterrence, or both. Every crisis teaches hard lessons. The biggest early warning saves lives. Space-based sensors gave precious minutes to take cover, but Iran's missiles were precise, targeting specific areas, no longer the blunt weapons of the past. The Patriot system's coverage was limited, gaps could be exploited. The attack forced a rethink: more systems, better networking, or new technology. Deterrence failed. Iran was willing to strike, shattering assumptions. The US learned that having the best tech isn't enough. Enemies adapt, and so must defenses. The event was a wake-up call for military planners. The threat is smarter, faster, and more willing to take risks. The Pentagon had to rethink its entire approach. The lesson: never underestimate your adversary. The future of defense would have to change. The response: build a layered, integrated defense. No single system can do it all. Patriot, THAAD, short-range guns, and more must work together. The goal: multiple chances to intercept, no single point of failure. New tech is on the way: lasers, high-powered microwaves, and AI-driven command systems. Lasers offer speed of light defense, cheap and fast. AI will link sensors and weapons, reacting faster than humans. The future is about smarter, faster, more connected networks. The attack accelerated these efforts. The next generation of missile defense will be tougher, smarter, and more resilient. The race is on to outthink and outpace the threat. The lessons of that night are shaping tomorrow's shield. Why does this matter? Because missile threats are real, and distance is no longer protection. The attack was a warning. No defense is perfect, and complacency is dangerous. The sword and shield race never ends. Lessons from that night will shape policy, technology, and strategy for years. It's better to learn from a near miss than a disaster. The attack exposed cracks before they became fatal. In the end, readiness is everything. The world is watching, and so must we.